As we currently sit, yes, they have. The discussions that we had via the CELAC committee meeting with government and the other parties was that for those individuals that were marked as inactive, the intention was that those employees would continue to accrue annual leave during any period of inactivity of employment. What's actually happened is that the law has been drafted in such a way, and we understand has been misdrafted to reflect actually that employees do not accrue annual leave during that period of time. Therefore, employers have interpreted that legislation and are now advising our members that they do not accrue annual leave. So when they are having their employment terminated, they are receiving payments that are short because of the annual leave accrual position. And for those that continue to be employed, they are being advised that actually the annual leave that is outstanding to them is much lower than they originally thought.
Stuart, you say the government has acknowledged that theirs is a contradictory position. A solution hasn't yet been forthcoming, but are you expecting one?
We are. We've been raising this for a number of weeks now, and there can be no denying the content of those CELAC meetings and what was discussed. I'd be fair to say that not all parties during CELAC agreed with that position, but obviously it's one that the union is supportive of because our members did not choose to be marked as inactive. Their contract of employment remains live, and therefore they should continue to accrue their benefits through their contract of employment. Government have indicated that yes, there has been a misdrafting of the legislation, but we are waiting for that resolution. But unfortunately, we've had to come out publicly because we are receiving a deluge of queries from our members. So we need to come out and advise our members of that position and the position that we are taking with government.
You mentioned providing a solution that works for employers as well as the workers, who are, of course, your priority. Do you feel the Chamber are only looking out for employers and not taking employees into account?
Well, again, we've made an invite to the Chamber to actually see what the reality is day to day in relation to people who are working in Gibraltar, and they are having a tough time at the moment. Now, I don't suggest for 1 minute that businesses aren't having a tough time, but there does seem to be a fairly one-sided approach to this. We saw last month, I think it was, that the Chamber came out against or earlier this month came out against the increase in the minimum wage. We're talking about a 25 pence increase in the minimum wage, which the Chamber was opposed to. And they are, citing Karl Marx in their latest releases to the press. And, obviously we quite happily have a conversation with the Chamber and others about Marxism, but I don't think that's necessarily the situation we're in. We have a position where our members are suffering as a result of COVID. It's important that our members aren't made to pay the price of COVID. It's also right to say that actually Gibraltar has been successful. It's been buoyant in previous years. Lots of people have made lots of money as a result of the prosperity within Gibraltar. And what we are saying is that it's fair in a number of circumstances for those businesses and employers that have enjoyed that prosperity is actually they take some of the strain and actually support their employees, because it's the employees who have actually made their profits, it's their employees who've made the businesses successful. And therefore what we are saying is that those businesses should look out for their employees.
You speak of evidence, which you say you're happy to provide the Chamber with. What evidence are you speaking of?
Well, in terms of the evidence is in relation to, the members who walk through the door, the members that email us daily, the members who telephone the office daily. We are just seeing a constant stream of issues for our members. Fair to say is unprecedented in recent history in Gibraltar, because fortunately the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis didn't hit Gibraltar. So we are seeing issues that are relatively unique, in recent times. And so therefore we can demonstrate to the Chamber, where employers are removing annual leave, where employers are simply not paying our members, where employers are, as I say, seeking to make redundancy payments in instalments, where they're not paying the requisite level of notice pay, and also where they are trying to actually make payments to people that are, in terms of redundancy, are short of statutory redundancy. And these are claims that we're having to take through the employment tribunals to actually ensure that our members get what they are entitled to under legislation and under statute.
And Stuart, finally, we've seen something of an escalation in the rhetoric on both sides of the argument here. Do you think it's still possible to find some common ground?
Well, I think there will always be polarized views here, but there's
Hmm.
clearly a shared goal and a shared aim, and that is the economic prosperity of Gibraltar, and that's also about navigating and sailing through the COVID crisis, and that cannot be done by cutting terms and conditions of employment. It can't be done by not supporting employees who may well be sick or having to self-isolate as a result of COVID or suspected COVID. So there are, practical supportive measures that can be put in place that do have a mutual benefit to obviously employees, employers, as we said in our press release, customers and service users, and Gibraltar as a whole. So do I think that the trade union and the chamber would be in wholehearted agreement on the whole range of issues? Absolutely not. Will we be able to find some common ground on issues that do actually have a mutual benefit to employers and employees? I believe we do. But the problem at the moment is that the chamber seem to be criticising anything that looks like or even sounds like an improvement to working people. And as I say, there's been a lot of prosperity, and that prosperity should be shared now to actually get Gibraltar through the current pain in relation to COVID.